No chewing. All right, so I wanted to send a little update on Louie. Trying to figure out what I want to talk about first. Okay, so first of all, the separations that I've been spending a lot of time with. He's kind of not in the shop, but he's laying down in his place, and working on crate stuff. So essentially, I tried to make it like its own behavior. So similar, like if I ask him to go into a sit, he has different markers to show him what I'm expecting within that behavior. So I will command him to go into his kennel. When he's in there, I will say the word good. And he's not allowed to come out until I say his release word, okay. So I've been trying to make it a point to go back and forth between having him in there for long periods of time, going in there and just hanging out while I'm doing stuff around the room. But a really big one has been sending him into his kennel and leaving the door open and having him kind of treat it similar to a place command where he's not allowed to come out until I say okay. So I want him to really understand that a lot of things can happen while he's in his kennel, and none of those things mean he can come out except for that okay word. So when I send him to go into his kennel, if I open and shut the door, if I reach in and pet him, if I walk away, if I move out of the way, all of those things will be met with no, some form of pressure if he tries to come out before he hears that release word. So I'm gonna put him in there and I'm gonna leave, excuse me, the door open, and then I'll talk about his leash stuff. So he went to sleep. Come on, yeah, get up. I didn't send him to his place. We just got back from walking downtown, so he's tired. Louie, come on. Get on. Good. Oh, he's fixed. So if he comes out, I'll just say no, and I'll put him back in. We're past me needing to like stay there and hover to keep him in. You can always take a couple steps backwards at home when you're trying to get him used to like, hey, this means the same thing home as it did at the kennel. I'm just checking on my dogs. I let her free in there. I hear her messing with things. Hey, no, enough, little turd. So I'm not really having a lot of problems with him, his leisure activity. I've been taking him, like we went to PetSmart this morning, later we went downtown, kind of near the Science Museum, I think that's what, the art museum, which one of those. It's where I used to live, so I always go there because I know where like all the streets are and stuff. But there's a vet over there, so I was like, aha, the vet will walk up and down there because there's typically a good amount of dogs going in and out, and so it's probably similar to like a normal walking situation that he's used to with you, as opposed to the dog park where like that's very much so its own separate entity of triggers. We went to Deep Run Park yesterday, and I guess, I don't know if everyone went back to work or what, but there was literally, I think we saw one dog, so that was very disappointing. And then I've used him in a couple of lessons, like working with other dogs who have leisure activity. Nothing, he doesn't care. Here, he already knows the picture of like there's dogs, I just deal with it. I think the biggest thing that I see from him as far as reactivity is he's mostly overstimulated by dogs walking directly towards him. So how I've been handling that is when I see a dog coming, I want to really initiate the fact that I'm going to give him space. So if it's coming this way and we're going this way, I'm going to just stop moving forward, turn, and kind of usher him over to the side a little bit. And to keep myself between he and the other dog. I think a really big component to all of this is making sure you're not reacting. So during any type of communication that I give him, if he's where he's supposed to be, I'm completely leaving him alone. I have a nice leash, loose leash. It's short enough to where if I need to give communication, I'm not having to like grab things up and all of that. But I want to be very neutral to other dogs. I'm going to give him the utmost freedom to just be where he is and not give him any pressure. I don't want him to feel restricted at all, which can cause a little bit of anxiety. Like if he's like, I'm not allowed to move away from this trigger, that could be upsetting for him, or if he's not allowed to like go initiate. So I'm going to give him a lot of slack. If he starts to perk up or fixate or move towards the dog, that's going to be no, and we're going to keep walking. Very simple. I'm not going to give a lot of stuff. After that note, I go back to my loose leash and I'm just completely leaving him alone. If it's something where it's just a little bit of, what's she licking? A little bit of mild interest, I'm just going to remind him that he's walking with me. So more of a, let's go. Just giving him a very cheerful, like, hey, like we're doing something, you're not worried about that. And then we can also incorporate space. So it's not an outright correction. I don't want to correct him for looking at other dogs because that creates its own conflict. I just want to show him, hey, we're not going to go initiate there. If he doesn't respond to that little bit of leash pressure. So it's not a correction, it's not like that, it's just a little bit of attention back into me. As soon as he's back paying attention to me, I can release the leash pressure and pay him. You can either use food or you can just give a little like, good boy. I think another thing with him is sometimes he gets a little, and I'm saying all this like, oh, I've just discovered this, I know that you know what I'm talking about. Gets a little anxious maybe around other dogs. So sometimes I will even switch it up to where if there's a dog off in the distance and he notices it, I'll put him into a sit and I'll do kind of like relaxing pets. So I'll just kind of like rub his chest. I don't want to be overbearing or put any pressure like I'm holding him back. I just want to, Louie, come on. No, I don't want to get up. I know you're tired. I've got to demonstrate. Come on. Louie. Sit. Good. So he's looking at it. Good boy. So just kind of rubbing up and down his body, giving him ear scritches. You're going to keep the leash in your hand, obviously, so that he can't make any moves. But I don't want to do this, like we're holding him back, where we're creating a little bit of agitation or like restraint. I don't want him to feel restrained at all. So just some like massaging, ear scritches. Oh yeah. And give him like a nice like calming massage so we can kind of take him out of that state of arousal. So that's more of like a picture of he just sees a dog off in the distance, maybe just up the road, anything like that. So okay, good boy. Come on. Good. Earlier when we were walking past the vet, there was somebody sitting out front waiting to go in, and they had their dog sitting next to them. I moved closer than I normally would with Louie just because the dog was an older dog and I could tell that it had no intention of doing anything other than just laying there as a big old fat thing. So the owner was very calm. I could tell that the owner wasn't worried either. So I did a quick little, I don't know the word I want to use, like a judgment, I don't know. So we walked, dog is sitting off to the side, we're walking past it. I totally left him alone. He was in his heel. I said, let's go. If he started forging ahead, I just gave him a little bit of feedback there. As we approached, I made sure that Louie was up to this side, and I told him, good boy, as we were passing, but I didn't overly animate. I didn't put him in arousal. I just kept him moving, and right when we were passing, he kind of did that little quick step where he wanted to look around my leg, and at that, I just said, nope, and then he completely disengaged and kept walking with me. So that just that little bit of feedback, I didn't over communicate, which I think maybe is what's going on is because you're used to the reactivity. We tend to activate our dogs because we're anticipating and preparing for a reaction. So when we do that, we cue our dogs. If you see another dog, I want you to just keep moving, and you're not going to address it until you see him show interest, whether that's just, good boy, let's keep going, or no, if it's, actual reaction. I would like to, as soon as he sees the dog, give him feedback, but it's going to be a very mild feedback of, let's go. We're just reminding him that he's in behavior. We're not gonna over leash. We're not gonna tighten up our leash while we walk past. None of that. It's going to be, I see a dog, let's go. Maybe give a little bit of angle, but that's just how you're walking as far as angling. We're not going to tighten up and move him physically with his leash, if that makes sense. He's asleep. So I have also the time lapse of him in his kennel. It's like a 30-second video, but the time lapse itself is over like maybe a 20-minute period. How I have his day scheduled is he goes out in the morning to play and use the bathroom and all of that stuff. He probably has about 45 minutes out there. When I come in, I bring him in here and I put him in his kennel. And again, we do different things. well, sometimes I'll just leave him in here, and I come in and out of the room with other dogs. Sometimes we'll do a little bit of this when I'm actually like working with him on this.